Hey guys, welcome to Facebook Live. It is day number 8 of 42 Facebook Lives in a row, all about online business. Okay, so today's question is all about how do I get out of my own way and actually do some stuff, right? So I talk to a lot of women who just feel like they're overwhelmed. They are distracted, they don't have any time, they don't know where to begin. They know that they want to do something, they know that they want to take action, but they just can't seem to put one foot in front of the other. So what I did to get ready for this live is I put together what I consider to be 4 big barriers that I see to people taking action when it comes to online business, right? So we've talked about this over the last 7 or 8 days, and what we've talked about is the fact that in order to build your online platform, you have to have a body of work. You have to have some sort of type of content, whether that's videos or images or written content. You have to have a body of work that shows people, number 1, who you are, and 2, what you do, right? So you need to kind of build that. Otherwise, how can someone get to know, like, and trust you? Or how can someone trust you enough to hand you over some money on the internet? So it's a long game. And so I understand why someone might not want to take action because it feels so overwhelming. But I want to go through 4 big barriers that I hear from women on reasons why they're not taking action, or they're not kind of getting to the point where they're engaging in this work. So obviously you guys know Action Academy is going strong. We're in our first week. So if you guys have not signed up for Action Academy, make sure you do that, because the goal of Action Academy is to get you some wins, to take some small steps, and I'm actually gonna give you the exact steps. So it's not like you have to just do it on your own. It's basically like me giving you, like, okay, here's a small homework assignment I want you to do to move the dial so that next week you can do another small thing, and then next week you can do another small thing. So 6 weeks later, you've done more in 6 weeks than you have in the past year. And so that's really what it's all about. So make sure you guys have signed up for Action Academy. So, barrier number 1 is time constraints. We've talked about this a little bit. Remember, if you have a full-time job, if you have a family, you have competing priorities, adding, another 5, 10, 15 hours of online business on top of an already packed schedule is going to make you feel as if you are not that it's impossible to do, or you feel like potentially it's not being a priority. So this is really hard. One of the things that I have my Best of You women do, especially in their first couple months, I always see this every year. The first couple months, the number 1 thing that I work on with people is time management and energy management, because we don't have the time. And if we do have the time, we might not have the energy because maybe we just got home from the gym and we trained a whole bunch of clients, or we got home from a full-time job and we're just sat out on the couch. We don't have the mental energy to do anything, and I get that. So time management and energy management. But the number 1 thing you have to start to do is audit your time. So literally, like, write down the places where you're wasting time. One of my big, one thing that for me is something super simple you guys can do is unfollow accounts that are distracting or that are overwhelming to you or make you kind of go down the rabbit hole of social media. Unfollow 10 accounts and minimize your Instagram story watching or Facebook story watching to 5 people. That's it, 5 people. So choose your top 5 people that you're gonna follow, and that's it. Other than that, you just have to get to the point where you don't care what anyone else is doing. Because remember, now we're a creator and not a consumer. So audit your time. Where are you spending time? Are you watching 3 hours of television every night? Are you, are you spending time like watching random movies and things like that? Are you, it's hard because sometimes things that are enjoyable need to kind of go as well. And you have to find a way to actually like the stuff that you're creating in your business. A lot of times what I say is it's not really a time issue as much as a passion issue, because you're not really loving the stuff that you're doing. You're not really loving social media posts. You're not really loving creating content. And if you don't get to the point where you figure out a way to love it, it's never going to feel easy, and you're always going to find other ways and things that you can do instead. So you need to audit your time, look at it critically, and ask yourself, what are things that you can delegate? What are things like maybe getting someone to clean your house? Yes, I know that's an expense, but when you go, okay, I need to make $100 or $200 extra a month to bring in someone to clean my house, how can I make that money? If you guys have not joined Find the Money Project, is it findthemoneyproject.com? Findthemoneyproject.com, which is Danny J's program. It's a free program. You guys can find $200 a month, no problem. Hire someone to come and clean the house. Not only you're getting the time back that it takes to clean the house, you're getting back the mental energy of thinking about having to clean the house, right? You're getting back those hours and that time. So think about it that way. What shortcuts can you make? What workarounds can you create? What things can be delegated? Super, super important. So find workarounds and figure out what the big dial movers are for your business, right? You don't need to be doing things like Twitter and Pinterest and, these crazy, super high professional YouTube videos, like maybe eventually, but when you're first getting started, let's keep it simple. You have the information that's in your brain and you have free social media platforms, and the biggest ones at this point are still Facebook and Instagram, right? So Facebook and Instagram. And then also you can ask people to join your email list. So some of the big dial movers I consider are things like consistently being on those platforms daily. And then also asking people to get into your email autoresponder. I use something called Aweber. To me, that's a huge dial mover. You don't need to be on a million different platforms. You don't need to worry about all that stuff now. Just get good at the basics. And then over time, you'll be able to sprinkle in some of those up-leveled, additional ways of doing things. Which brings me to barrier number 2, which is waiting for things to be perfect and having to have all the answers. Every single person I know who has been successful has not waited to know exactly what was going to happen. And this is tough because, if you're someone who's really into your body or physique or, body change and fat loss like I was, you're a recovering perfectionist, and that translates. So whether it's building your body or building a business, it's a lot of the same mental kind of barriers where I don't want to do it if I don't know what the exact outcome is going to be. And here's the thing that's really cruel or a little bit unfortunate and frustrating is that you're never going to know exactly what it's going to look like. So for me, perfectionism becomes paralyzing. And you guys know this intellectually, and you're still not doing it, which is why we're having this conversation. Remember though, action is the great elucidator. Like, to me, action is the thing that reveals the best practices, right? So we can't know what exactly is going to happen, and we never are going to have the perfect formula for something, but we do have best practices. And the way that you start to know what the best practices are is by doing anything. Putting out a post is feedback, right? Writing a blog gives you feedback. Asking for people's email addresses gives you instant feedback. So for me, the quantity begets the quality, what I mean by that is the more you do it, the more imperfect action you take, the more your actions start to approach perfection. You don't get to just jump right to the perfect solution. You don't get to just jump right to the perfect formula. It's just like fat loss. It's just like building your body. You have to try out some things. Yes, we have best practices, but you can't wait to know every single one before you take action. So if you're worried about things being perfect, I want to encourage you to just do anything different right now, and you'll always learn something. Super key. We're actually talking about that tonight in Action Academy. Barrier number 3 is it all feels so overwhelming, so I might as well not even start. It all feels so overwhelming. There's so much stuff to do. I don't even want to start. This reminds me very much of the all or nothing way of eating and exercising. Most of you guys know what that feels like. You've had that experience. If you start a new exercise program, what do you immediately say? You go, well, I should overhaul my nutrition too, because if I'm not gonna change my nutrition, then I might as well not even do this exercise program, or I might as well not even go to the gym if I'm not going to be there for an hour, or I might as well not even try if I can't be perfect on my meal plan, right? It's the same exact thing, just dressed up in a different outfit. Same thing with online business. If we can't be perfect, if we can't do the right thing in the right order, then we might as well not even start. And so overwhelm is a real big issue, and I understand that, but here's the key, and no one, by the way, gets around this. You do not earn the right to step number 2 until you go through step number 1. You do not earn the right to step number 2 before you go through step number 1. Every single person who I know who does successful online business started with 1 follower. They started with 1 fan. They started with 1 reader. They started with 1 subscriber. And then they got 2. And then they got 3. And then they got maybe 50 people later, they got a stranger, right? So you start with your friends and family. You start with acquaintances. If people show up, that's great. That's totally fine. But everyone starts at the beginning. And in a way, if you think about it, it's a little bit insulting to someone who's been at it for years and years and years to think that you're gonna go from 0 to 100. And so you have to put in your dues. I've written a lot of blogs on this. You guys know that I've written a lot on patience. I've written a lot on consistency. I've written a lot on intensity and showing up. And these things are super key. You do not earn the right to step number 2 without doing some sort of grind. Everyone does it, every single person, and chances are the difference between you and someone who is more successful is just the timing. They've just been doing it for longer. I always tell this to my best of you women, the only difference between here and there is the fact that I've been doing it for 7 years and they've been doing it for 7 months. That's a huge difference. They're doing all the right stuff, but they just need to be doing it for longer. They need to build up that goodwill. They need to build up that trust so that when they do launch something, that people are watching and listening. Super important. So number 3 is, feels overwhelming, and I just want to remind you that you have to do the first thing first. You can't get away from it, and the sooner you start, the faster you get to that place. All right, last one, barrier number 4. I'm worried about judgment and getting called out. This is a biggie. I'm worried about judgment, getting called out. What if my peers call me out on something? What if, you know, my friends and family think I'm bragging? What if I come off too preachy? All these kind of things. And I've done a separate live on this if you guys want to like kind of scroll back down. But it's a huge barrier to taking action, and I get that. However, I want to remind you that it's probably going to happen. Like, it's just going to happen. If you're starting to play at a bigger level, like someone's going to say something, someone's going to give you some sort of cheap shot, someone's going to disagree with you at some point, someone's not going to understand why you're doing it. And my advice is to have that experience as fast as possible. I want you to have that experience as fast as possible, because then you survive it and then you go, I survived it. It wasn't awesome. It didn't feel good, but I got through it. And so having the full experience and seeing a show of evidence that when it does happen, you can survive that, gives you the confidence to do more, right? So not everyone's gonna get it. People are gonna disagree. Someone might call you out. You're gonna have some sort of, you know, thing on the internet where you're gonna, like, something's gonna happen. I guarantee you, if you're playing at a high enough level, it's definitely gonna happen. You're gonna get a DM, someone's not gonna understand, whatever. And to me, I love that because it gives you the opportunity to hone your message. So immediately when someone kind of, when I get someone just kind of disagreeing or calling me out, or just some sort of like response that I'm not ready for, it really makes me ask, am I communicating in a way that's clear? And it might just be the fact that, like, we're just not going to agree. And remember, you don't have to get along with every single person in your industry. Like, not everyone's going to agree that there's one specific way to eat, or there's one specific way to exercise, there's one specific way to go through life. And that's the beauty of it. To me, it's the beauty that we all get to choose different things, and that each one of your businesses or your online brands is going to have its own personality. That's key. To me, that's what makes this an amazing space. In fact, you have to have an opinion, otherwise no one knows what the fuck you do. So you have to be a little bit polarizing, or else no one knows what you stand for. And so when you do that, you're gonna get people, you're gonna get trolls, haters, your family members might say something at Thanksgiving dinner. And I want you to have that full experience, and I want you to just take it in, and I want you to survive it, and I want you to see and build up your confidence as a result. But I can tell you this, if it's a huge sensitivity of yours and you are stressed out about it all the time, that is an energy that is going to attract even more of it. If it's your sensitivity, it will show up in your life even more, because you're gonna be on the lookout for it, right? Like, sometimes I don't even know that someone's like making fun of me because I'm just like thinking it's like an inside joke, or I don't even, like, to me, I don't really take things that way. Sometimes someone might be like antagonistic, but for me, it's just like, we're having a conversation. It doesn't have to be bad. It's just a conversation. And remember, if you're worried about that, it's just someone on the other end of a computer, someone on a keyboard somewhere else. And that, how scary is that? It's not that scary. And also it helps you just hone your message a little bit more. Remember, when you're responding to things like that, whether it's on your public, if it's a public forum, respond in a way that's in your integrity and that is gracious and that makes you appear understanding, empathetic. Like, to me, that's important. So it's not that, unless the person is being just 100% disrespectful, then it's just delete and ban. That's it, delete and ban. But if it's someone who's honestly curious, don't immediately jump to this person's an asshole. I mean, I would just be curious and be interested in asking their opinion and having a discussion. And to me, it doesn't mean you're wrong or bad, or they're wrong or bad. It's just like, let's have this experience. And then the more of those experiences you get under your belt, the less it starts to bother you. And so that is it. Have the full experience. That's it for me, you guys. So 4 big barriers: time constraints, waiting for things to be perfect, overwhelming, and worried about judgment and getting called out. All comes down to action. You guys know that. Action is the antidote. It's the great communicator. So what do you do? Here's what I would say to do. If the question is, how do I take action? It's literally like, when a situation presents itself to do something different, you do that. So remember, we can talk in circles. I know we should be doing this. I know we should be, here's my plan, here's my plan, here's my plan. We can talk in circles about what we're gonna do, or we can literally just be like, I'm gonna post something tonight. I'm just gonna post something tonight. I'm just gonna see what happens. I'm gonna ask someone to give me their email address. I'm gonna send them some free shit. That's all it is. It's starting there. And I know that's super simple. Online business seems like this big old thing. It's really that simple. It's building trust over the internet. And then when an opportunity presents itself, asking someone for money, it's very clear. And it's an ongoing process. And by the way, it's always evolving. So I've been doing this for 7 years and it's still always different. It's always changing. And we have to keep staying up on that stuff. So that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here. And make sure you sign up for Action Academy. We have our second live training tonight. If you can't make the live training, if you sign up, you will get the recording in your email. All right, I can't wait. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. Bye.